I'm Daemonxel, and it's time for your Eve Echoes Weekly News Update, where we will be diving into all the happenings of the week. But first, if you can tag that subscribe button and ring that bell, you can stay up to date with everything that this channel has to offer. Just a few updates before we dive into everything of the week. First is on a subject that we touched on last week's video, which was the Citadel loss by Pantheon. Information came to light that this was a corporation within Pantheon that laid down that Citadel without acknowledgement from the Alliance. They've then since been removed, and then the Citadel was set upon by Pantheon to remove it forcibly. Now, I know this video is late this week. I usually tend to try and get my videos out Thursday, usually Friday, possibly Saturday the latest, but I did want to get the fight that happened today in. And I do want to apologize if there is a news story out there that I have not covered or I may have missed. That is because I am completely burned out. And the reason I'm burned out, as you know, my son is in the NICU. And the way the schedule works, we only get 2 hours to see him every day, and it is an hour away. So that is an hour travel time there, 2 hours there, and an hour back. And we're making sure that we're there every single day. So between those trips, my full-time job, and everything else I have to take care of, it just makes me feel a little burnt out. Now, an update on the baby, because I did have a few of you asking in the comments as well as DMing me why there wasn't an update about him last week. Okay, so he wasn't featured last week in the updates, but he was the week before that. He did come off his CPAP machine. He was off it for 27 hours, and then he did have an episode, and the doctors felt it best to put him back on. Now, my wife and I were told that he was expecting to come back off the CPAP machine this Monday or Tuesday, but to our surprise, he came back off it today, and he's doing well. We're keeping an eye on him. The doctors are keeping an eye on him. Everything looks great. He's gaining weight. He's doing fantastic, and I finally got to hold him. I didn't get to hold him for the last 3 weeks, only because we have limited time there, and I wanted to make sure that my wife had bonding time with him. Plus, with the CPAP machine on, it just makes it hard to take him out of the incubator, and we didn't want to jostle him around too much. Another great milestone update is that they took the feeding tube out, and he's now going to try taking everything in by the bottle. So exciting times, and I'll keep you updated each week. All right, now we did have our maintenance this week, and we got 6 optimizations as well as some bug fixes that they corrected since being on vacation. Adjusted chat interface text of the Alliance channel now changed to blue, rookie help and custom channels to white, and system and local has been changed to yellow. This makes it great for that at a glance looking to differentiate between the chats. Late claim notifications badge was added at the corner of the icon to indicate a mail that comes with a reward. How many of you have deleted those mails only to lose your rewards? They streamlined the patch note screen display. The character ID will now be shown on the combat log interface. And if the purchased item is located in the docking station, players will now be directly led to the station inventory instead of personal assets by tapping the notice. Newcomers who have joined a corp for less than 7 days are now unable to donate money to that corporation. Now, I have a lot of people against this one, but let's face it, not every change is going to be well received by the community. Now, they've fixed several bugs within this past week as well. Let's take a look at what they did here. They fixed a bug where when withdrawing ISK from a corp, the duration showing in the trade lock confirmation interface may not be consistent with the actual duration. They fixed an issue where the number of Guardians Gala decoders was shown incorrectly after switching accounts. They corrected some text related to the insurance point introduction. Fixed an issue where personal assets can be initiated for delivery even when the player has no permission to dock at a Citadel. Normally, assets can only be delivered when one no longer has the permission to dock. It's been brought to light that the insurance program could be skimming Plex. Okay, let me be completely honest, I still can't wrap my brain around the insurance program, math and all that, and limited brain cells with everything that I got going on. But that's okay. You don't need me to break it down for you and explain it to you when there are others that have done it for you. Sovereign RPG and Nina have broken down the math and the disappearing Plex the service does, as well as speaking to Exile to get down to the bottom of things. It's a 30-minute video, but I do suggest that if you want to know more about what's going on, you go over to Sovereign RPG's channel and check it out. We've seen a lot of sovereignty gained this past week with no systems lost. ACR gained 2 systems. Pantheon gained 2 systems. The QC gained 2 systems as well. Catch-22 1 system. OG Empire 3 systems. The Providence Coalition 1 system. The Golden Horde 1 system. The Veil Coalition 1 system. And Silent Federation with 2 systems. All sovereignty maps provided by Exekiel. A link to his GitHub will be in the description below with up-to-date sovereignty maps. A video was sent to me this week of some very odd behavior outside of JITA. Not so much a bug, but it does remind me of that time when everyone could warp to the JITA ITC and get stuck within the model at the station. It's time now for your Eve Echoes market report. Plex saw a rise this week to 1.2 million per Plex. Prices across the board remain in flux with heavy volatility due to players hitting that Tech 9. We should see some stability in pricing within the next 2 weeks. Joseph did present us this week with a market comparison of before and after the insurance program, and they know that the overlap of Tech 9 and the insurance program will have affected these numbers. They promise they will continue to monitor the market data to see an overall impact of the insurance program and the effect it may have. War is spreading across New Eden as the First Grand War has embroiled 90% of Nullsec as fighting continues across multiple regions and territories. As we look at this map, you can see that Null is split between the Southern Coalition and its allies versus Genesis and its allies. We have seen major strikes in the east and the south this week as Sov-bearing citadels are poised to come out of reinforcement timers. I've reached out to both sides of this expansive war to see what key members had to say, and while some were evasive and tight-lipped, others did give me an inside look into how the war is going. All over the map, timers are being traded, both shield and armor, but it's more of a hit-and-run tactic, probing response time and defensive capabilities. Earlier this week, a F1 Citadel in ZID was hit, forcing a structure timer. More on that developing story shortly, while another Pantheon Citadel has been pushed for a structured defense for this coming Friday. In a surprise of standings during this turbulent time, Silent Federation, allies of Genesis in the war against the Southern Coalition, has changed its standings to neutral for both Pantheon and the Quasar Coalition, both ardent supporters of Genesis. How this will affect the war overall has yet to be seen. The Golden Horde Alliance did claim the fall of one of their enemy outposts in Ketch, belonging to Yeet. However, not much is known about this fight that's been passed on to me, especially with everyone gearing up for the big fight this weekend. Karinsky of Genesis has told me, other than the ZID fight, to put into structure, it was pretty uneventful week, aside from a regular skirmishes within their borders. The only exciting news aside from the war was that Expo Corporation, formerly of Genesis, has left after a month of disgruntlement. Expo leadership expressed a willingness to leave the Federation peacefully. However, after what I was told, a complete meltdown by one of its members, it was discovered that they would be joining the Southern Coalition. Genesis promptly set them to red and unleashed upon them. Their bad luck wouldn't end there. It was witnessed that their Southern Coalition did not set their standings correctly, and an Expo was then attacked by their new allies, losing a Vindicator in the process. The Battle of ZID happened in the early hours of the 25th, breaking the previous record, making this the biggest local number fight in the game. However, according to sources, you must take that with a grain of salt, because even though the cap was raised and it hit 1,500, there were a record number of pods in the system to artificially inflate that number. Mixed feelings on the subject, where some would say it's an exploit to deny content, while others call it tactics and strategy. Then you have people calling out the massive drone fleets, which clog the system further, pushing lag, disconnects, and black screens an exploit. To those, I would say that it's a double-edged sword. Yes, drones are the best doctrine to combat the shield bubble meta, but during those huge lag spikes where weapons don't cycle, the drones themselves become useless and are then just paper DPS. This circle of an argument will continue until they fix the disparity between armor and shields. Fighting broke out in all neighboring systems to ZID with multiple camps. Inside the target system on grid, both forces met at the station, feeling out ranges for around 90 minutes. Genesis and its allies brought an impressive battleship fleet of both faction and Tech 9 variety. Genesis broke into 2 points of DPS, one on the station and the other squaring up on the defenders. Time dilation was at both 5 times and 6 times, and in the middle of the fight, the disconnect lag dance began, with all weapon cycles stopping after the initial firing. In a thread on Reddit, there was a pro tip given that if you have 2 targets locked during this disconnect dance and the weapon issue, focus fire on one target, then as the cycling is about to hit the next, you stop and focus fire on the next target. This will allow you to keep hitting the targets and keep your guns active. The Southern Coalition forces were able to drive their Brawler fleet into the Gen Allies fleet, breaking them and dispatching most of the ships. Full retreat was sounded after the fleet failed to secure the timer, and thusly the ZID Southern Coalition Citadel was saved and a huge victory was secured. I was able to get my hands on some of the Genesis heavy losses, and as you can see, they spared no expense and brought their all to the fight. The spokesman for the Southern Coalition gives an estimated 200 to 300 billion in ISK damages to the Genesis fleet. Contacts within Genesis have confirmed 50 plus battleships lost, including 4 Nightmares. However, they were able to extract 15 battleships to safety. No matter what side you were on in this fight, all parties could agree that it was a lot of fun, and we all as a community look forward to a time where these fights can occur without the negative side effects of the weapon cycle, lag, and disconnection issues. And of course, after the fight today, a tidal wave of propaganda and meme posts washed over the Reddit Echoes community, reminiscent of my old Terran Federation days. I reached out to TruBeast of Silent Alliance and asked him a few questions about the war and the Silent Federation. I asked, where does the Silent Federation fit in the war? Are you actively fighting in the borders or securing your own borders against the Southern Coalition advancement? He answers, Silent supports our allies in their wars throughout New Eden. We have a variety of ways we participate in wars. Sometimes things aren't as obvious at first glance, but we are very active. We have expanded securing Declan, Pureblind, Fade, and are now pushing into Branch. It's important that we hold two-faced backstabbers accountable. Our focus is on Cow and Fireflies. I go on to ask, I see Silent as an active ally to Genesis, however are neutral to both Pantheon and the QC, who are also actively fighting alongside Genesis. How does that happen, and moving forward, will that become an obstacle in the war? He answers with, GenFed has been our most dependable partner to date. We have invested billions in fleets that stay docked in the south for fast response. Diplo can always get worked out when it's necessary. We prefer to avoid updating standings unless it's for a joint military mission. I ask, congratulations on Silent Federation's regional influence. Do you think you have hit your rhythm in the game? As far as the expansion of territory and holding territory, has it become any easier? He replies, thank you. I think it's very early in the game and its life cycle. We are all just getting started. Silent has a lot of work to do to continue building unique systems and programs to improve our community's playing experience. It's interesting how small the Eve Echoes community is. Your character and decisions will follow you. We are focused on doing the right thing for our communities and partners. I ask next, the war has spread to the north as Fireflies, PIBC, and EEC start advancing. Has this put any halts in your day-to-day operations? Is your members' spirit high with so many targets close by? He answers, Silent has always been in war. Every day we have a ton of content and we are maintained an incredible SRP program since launch that's never faltered. We invest heavily in our military, always pushing the meta to be one of the most effective in-game. Spirits are high with a great community and passionate leaders that show up to do work every day. My last question was, What do you think of this entire war that has engulfed 90% of no? The answer I got is, it's peak Eve. It's crazy how fast things change. I wonder where we'll all be in 30 days. I reached out this week to Tahini to see how No Please Stop has been doing, and apparently still taking on impossible fights with zero fear. In fact, they had 2 fights this week that had them outnumbered. One was in Fountain, hunting Boop battleships, where they fought against a 50-man fleet with their 25. The enemy fleet was destroyed, totaling upwards 20 billion in damages, but the fight was only just getting started as Boop reshipped and fought them on their Citadel. By the end of the fight, No would take the field and head home with 10 ships remaining, causing another 10 to 15 billion in ISK damages to Boop. Another of these fights was in the Great Wildlands in NREAL against a Dune fleet of 350 plus, against their 50 raiding party. They took the fight and fought valiantly to the last ship, causing heavy damages to the defending fleet. Lesson here is you get what you pay for. If you want a contract filled in record time, give No Please Stop a call. As another follow-up story, Alan from EA received his tablet this week and wanted to again express his overwhelming gratitude to everyone that donated, as well as show everyone how his new setup is working. HONK had some superb trolling this week by convincing a portion of the Echoes community that they had moved to raid Shadow Legends. As you can see, they were successful in that attempt. And now the big kills of the week. No Please Stop claims a series of faction battleship kills this week, 12 to be exact. A 12.7 Balgorn, a 13 billion Vindicator, twin Macarials, one for 11.5 and another for 11.8, a 14.2 billion Nightmare, a 12.2 Rattlesnake, a 10.4 Macarial, 11.4 Rattlesnake, a 12.3 Balgorn, and another 3 Macarials, all averaging around 11 billion. It's been a very busy week for No. Void also had a very nice Nightmare kill this week at 17.3 billion ISK. And now the solo kills of the week and a chance at a free Omega combo. In the third runner-up spot, we have Dark Knight V01 with this 1 billion Mammoth kill. Next we have Manus with this 1.2 billion Raven. We have Severus with this 1.5 billion Dramiel kill. And the winner this week of the free Omega combo is McCain with this 1.6 billion Cyclone. Congratulations on your win. Please contact me via Discord to receive your prize. Now, as an honorable mention though, even though he cannot win for another 30 days, this impressive kill just had to be shown. This is Badran with a 12.2 billion Rattlesnake kill. Now, if you need more news in your life, be sure to check out our affiliates, Frankie over at Eve Echoes Radio, Rambo at the Echoes of New Eden podcast, and the almost daily stories in written format at the New Eden News. And that's our show. So, for me, have a great week, have a great weekend, fly safe, and remember, we're always one vision, one purpose, one front.